Hi everyone, so take a broken paintbrush. This one's just one I've pulled the end off. I hadn't got a damaged or broken paintbrush, but if you do get any damaged or broken paintbrushes, keep them for this. So first of all, you need to remove the metal part at the top. Be very careful, remove it with pliers. It normally removes easier than this, but this one was well stuck on. I found if you hold around the base and twist, like hold the metal part at the base of it and with pliers and then twist, it'll come off easier usually. So first of all, I needed to remove the metal part. Once I've removed the metal part, the paintbrush, I then used my craft knife to remove the paint. And then just use some sandpaper to smooth out the wand, and then I cut the end on a slope so it would fit in with the crystal point that I picked as the topper for my wand. This is a rather fabulous quartz crystal point that I've had around the house for years. I think I've had this since I was a teenager, this particular crystal. And I found it recently in a box. It had gone missing. I'd lost it years ago. And I decided to make this with it. And so I've used some hot glue to hold it into place, just to make it nice and secure, so I don't have to try and balance a crystal and wire wrap it at the same time. This is just to make sure it holds on, and because the glue is the same colour as the crystal, pretty much once dry, it doesn't stand out. And then I've got this gold floristry wire. I got it from my local craft store in the floristry section. And I'm going to use this to wrap around the wand and the crystal and make it look nice. So here I've got the end of the wire. I've got to make sure that I have the wire not going in the same the end of the wire needs to not go in the same direction as the rest of the wire, and then that way as I wrap it round it'll secure that end. You can put a little blubber glue on to hold it in place, but once you've done enough wraps of wire it'll stay in place anyway. So here I'm just wrapping around, filling in any gaps as I go along, taking it nice and steady, and I'm pulling the wire fairly firmly so it applies straight and it removes a lot of the kinks out of the wire. This wire is very thin and easy to bend, just using your hands. You don't have to use pliers or anything, and I like to use this for stuff like wire wrapping. I've got a silver version somewhere around the house as well. Obviously it's not real gold and silver, it's just the colours, but it works really well for little projects like this because it's a nice fine wire, but once it's wrapped around it's fairly secure. I decided to go around the two little points sticking out to emphasise those a little bit, and then wrapped a little bit just above those like so. And just make sure it's nice and secure, nice and tight. Go over any areas where you feel it needs a couple of times. And fill in any obvious gaps. And then I wanted like a little sort of curl or sort of swirly bit at the top, so I just bent that around like so, and then cut off the excess wire with my wire snips. And all you need to do is just bend that end so it goes inwards towards the crystal, and once you've got it the shape you want, make sure it's on like a flat edge to the crystal so it sticks easier. What I do is put a little blob of glue in place, just a little blob of hot glue, and press that down, and that's enough just to hold that end in position. And like I said, once the glue's dry, it's pretty much the same colour as the crystal, so it doesn't stand out. And then I'm adding a little bit of wire on the handle. I'm going to do the same thing where I wrap it around so many times and then do a little swirl and glue that in position to finish it off. Just make sure you pull fairly tightly as you're wrapping it around to make sure that the wire is not too loose, otherwise this will just fall off. And then I'm going to bend it round to make my little swirl shape. Like so. And just tweak it a little bit because it came out a bit sort of squared off because I'd used the little jewellery pliers. But I just tweaked the shape here and there until I was happy with it. And again, just turn that end so it's pointing inwards and not sticking out, so it'll stay flush against the handle. Then applied a tiny bit of hot glue and pressed it into position. And I've just added a little bit more glue just to make sure that's nice and secure. And you could leave it at that, to be fair. I noticed the end hadn't quite been sanded enough, so I just sanded that a bit more. And as you can see, I've got like it's a little disc of sandpaper from my electric sander that I've used. It's just a little bit of a scrap one because I can't find what I've done with my regular sandpaper. And like I said, you could leave it at this, but I decided to do a little bit of a wash to mine. So what I did was got some black acrylic paint and watered it down loads, so it was a very thin wash of black and that it would soak into the wood. And then what I did was I applied more layers of black as it got towards the end of the wand, so it was like a really dark black tip and then it fades up into the rest of the wand. Just to give it a bit more of an interesting design, and I didn't want it to just be black, I wanted it to have a bit of variation. And I like how the lighter shade faded, and also because this is very watered down, it doesn't stick to the metal of the wire, if you're wondering as well. And it looks really dark here, but it's soaked because the wood's had the paint removed, it soaks into the wood really well. So as you can see, I'm just very watered down, applying that all over. And then I apply darker layers of paint with less and less water in at the tip, so it has this nice sort of gradient effect to it. And when it dries and it's absorbed, it does blend in a lot better. You could make the whole thing black if you wanted to. I just wanted this gradient effect on mine. And for the design of this, I just went with what felt right. So like I didn't plan it and just went with how I felt it would work out at the time. Hope you enjoyed the video. Blessed be, and bye for now.